Guys, what's up? How we doing today? So I'm waiting for my bud Christian to hop on here. He's gonna help me tell the story we're doing tonight is what's up, Allison? The story tonight is our trip down to Peru through Machu Picchu, through Cusco and Aguascalientes and Puerto Maldonado, and all that ensued, which was about a 10-day, 2-week trip. Some ups and downs for sure. Quite a few, um, particularly strange moments, fun moments, but also um, a little dicey at times. That's what makes it fun, right? This piece I'm working on specifically. It's not really for anybody or anything in particular. It's just kind of experimenting with the way I'm doing some of the trees and the silhouettes I got set up here, which is a little new to me. Kind of liking where it's going, but we'll see where we get to at the end. Telling the story is a little bit more interesting than an actual finished product, right? Because that's where all the details come into play, all of the elements that got you to where you're at. Kind of, I don't know. That's what I think. Kind of interesting, more so than just looking at the finished product, which is valuable, or not valuable, but has value in it. Shows the hard work that you put in, but getting there is always more interesting, right? Well, I guess I'll go ahead and get started. So I met Christian. Hopefully he can join in. I met Christian when we were touring together with Blue Man Group we toured together from 2013 up to 2000 and let's see, I think he's here. Hey Garrett, how's it going, man? There, all right. This time, Christian trying to join. Hey, finally, okay, good deal. How's it going, man?
What's up, brother? It works this week. How
It
about it?
does, yeah. So everybody, thank you for popping in. This is my boy Christian. I was just saying, going over the story through Peru that we took our first trip. Actually, we met back on tour with Blue Man Group in 2012. I think it might have been 2013. That's when you joined.
Yeah,
Um,
2013.
yeah, so we met. It would have been sometime late summer, early fall, um, and that winter we went to Peru.
Yep.
I remember specifically we were in Michigan. We were working a gig. We were at a venue. The venue. It was remember Grandma, that venue with like the community center. It was just this old woman that took care of everybody. She went
Yeah,
by
I do.
Grandma.
She was
Yeah.
super sweet. She ran the green
Yep.
room.
Yep. That's it. Yeah. So she ran the hospitality, and so I don't know how it came about, but we were talking about traveling, and you're like, "Do you want to go to Peru?" I was like, "Yeah," and you're like, "Cool," and then that was that, which had
We had
me a little.
a 2 week break. I think it was for Thanksgiving or Christmas,
It
maybe.
was it was December, so
It
it
was
might have been.
December.
It was December, um, but yes, I remember you're like, we should check out Machu Picchu, one of the seven wonders of the world. I'm like, all right, I'm down, and you were like, cool, and left it at that. I'm like, are you gonna bail on me? Because I didn't know you that well at that point, um,
Right.
because you're just so casual about it, which was great, um, but had no clue exactly if you how serious you were about this. Uh,
Right.
but lo and behold. We had a couple weeks off for Thanksgiving. I think it was about a month to 6 weeks off. We had a couple weeks at the end of November, and then the first 2 weeks, December, we met up in Peru.
We did, and I remember the first thing that happened off the plane. We landed
I,
in Lima,
yep.
and I'm sure you remember this. Maybe we were together. Were we together?
We were. If I didn't know if that was this trip because we've been through Peru a couple times now.
Right. So the first thing
And
that
I,
happened when I saw you, we gave each other a big hug, and
yep,
then that girl came up to us.
yeah,
Small, little, petite Asian girl walks right
yep.
up to us, and I'm like, oh, this is not gonna go because we're not, I'm super prejudiced. Like, oh, she's gonna be speaking whatever, and she's Australian.
Yeah.
She comes up, she's like, "Hey, right, do you guys know where the bathrooms are?" I'm like, did not see that one coming.
Yeah, that was good. So we were both exhausted, and you're just like, yeah, I was not ready for that
A little
at
tiny
all.
Asian Australian girl. I was
Yep.
like, well, that was a curveball. Let's get going.
So we caught our cab. We caught a cab into. So I looked up the hostel. It was called the Point Hostel, right along the coast.
Yeah,
We chilled there that night. We got in. I'm pretty sure we walked around for a little bit. We found that bomb burrito, the burrito bar.
burrito bar was sick.
The
Who would have thought?
best, yeah, such a generic name. One of the best burritos I've ever had. Went back earlier this year to that same place. It holds up. Like we weren't crazy. Still one of the best burritos I've ever had. The
It's good to
tortillas,
hear.
man. That's where
What
it's
was the
at.
what was the kid? The kid that was there was like, I fucking hate my life, man. Like he was a
So many potatoes. He was about eating potatoes. He was
wasn't he
helping.
like
He was at an orphanage.
yeah,
He
he was
was.
volunteering or something?
Yeah. He hated his life.
He fucking
Um,
hated his life. He was hilarious, man. He's like,
his
I gotta
name
get the
was
fuck out
it
of there.
Earl or Carl or
I don't
something?
know. That's a good memory
It
if you
was.
can remember. I can't
It was.
remember.
I don't know. Not it was something like that. I not saying that people named Earl or Carl have boring names, but what he said was sounded like a very generic, boring kind of guy, and his tone matched his name.
I
You
don't
know,
know any Earls or any Carls.
I know one Carl,
Oh yeah?
one of my best friends growing up. I haven't talked to him in years. Hope he's okay. I think he lives
Sounds
in
like a
Hawaii.
real he's a real piece of work.
He sounds like a real Carl. Um, so anyway, yeah, we had the burrito bar, chilled there. I think it was either we stayed there 1 or 2 nights, but we met a couple of Australians that looked like they were proper Australians, and they were all about beer pong and drinking at that point. And I wasn't drinking, and you're like, yo, let's play them in beer pong. I'll do your shots.
Yeah,
Little
it
did
sounds
you
like
know how horrible I was at that game.
have you ever you had played up to that point?
I hadn't played up to that point.
Yeah, it showed.
So yeah, I don't feel bad for it, but it was funny. So that night, I think it was that night, you just kept the night rolling. You went out and went dancing. I'm like, I'm gonna call it quits.
I remember that night. I went out, cut some rugs for sure with
Yes, you
those
did. Yes,
with those Australian guys.
yes, you did. And then you came back at like 4 in the morning with a bottle of orange juice. I'm like, you good? And you're like, yeah, I've got some orange juice
For the morning. I
for
won't
the
be
for,
hungover.
for the morning.
Here's my OJ.
And we had a flight. So we were on a pretty strict time crunch because we had 10. It's like 10 days, 2 weeks,
Yeah.
something like that.
Generally
So
we do 10-day trips. That sounds about
yeah,
right.
yeah. So we were on a kind of a time crunch. So we didn't waste any time in Lima because we were going to come back. Maybe we stayed 2 nights, but anyway, one of the Scott doll,
Scotty boy.
Scotty. But that next morning, I woke you up and you're just like, your pack is asunder all over the hostel room.
What was that word?
Asunder.
I
You
love
like
that.
Yeah, I got you.
I don't know that one. I mean, I'm sure it means just fucking complete disarray or something.
Yep, something along those lines.
All right, I'm gonna put that one in the books.
Asunder. Yeah.
What do you start with?
A.
O-U? It is an A.
I think it's ASUNDER.
Got it.
I think
Yeah.
that's what it is. If you want to
All right,
fact check
moving on.
that.
It is.
All right.
Asunder.
Okay.
Well done.
Dope. So yeah, that next morning, your pack was everywhere. Like trying to wake you up. You were smashed still.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't know you again at this point. I didn't know you that well. And I'm not a very controversial or like, what's the word I'm looking for?
maybe
Uh,
controversial. I don't want
no,
like what's the
you
word?
don't like confrontation.
That's it, confrontation. So like
We help each other out. I get you out
we
of
do.
sticky situations.
We sure do. We sure do, man. And this was one where I had to take the lead on this one. Because
It was about 8 in the morning, wasn't it? It was
yeah,
really early.
yeah, it was really early because we had an early flight. So we were hustling because we had to catch the flight to Cusco, and then that next morning at like 4 or 5, we had to get up and start our hike, right?
Yeah,
So it was early mornings for the first half of the trip before we got to play with the monkeys, which we'll get to.
we
Um,
will get to.
but so I was trying to get you up. It was like, yeah, something 7 or 8. I'm like, yo, we got to go to the airport. Our flight's in 3 hours. We have at least an hour like commute to the airport. You're like, no, it's fine. We've got like we can get there in an hour. I'm like, yeah, dude, I know, but we need to leave now. Like, no, it'll be fine. And I was like, maybe you're right. Maybe I'm overreacting. So I sat
Mm-mm.
around for like a few minutes, just kind of make sure I had everything together. And then I'm like, no, doing the math. We need to leave now because if we wait an hour, we have an hour to get there and then less than an hour to get through security and board. So I eventually convinced nighttime Christian, to wake up and get his
Yeah,
act together. And that
yeah.
whole cab ride to the airport, like I was completely sober, but I was hurting because of how bad that driver was. And I can't even imagine what you were feeling at that point, other than how you started singing Madonna to me.
Right. Madonna. He had Madonna on the radio,
Yeah.
and all I could remember the words was "holiday, celebrate,
You just,
holiday," and I was just,
oh, in so
celebrate,
much pain. Dude,
just
that
dying.
was, yeah, over and over. Pretty much for the duration, like even after that song ended, you kept just singing.
I must
Um,
have had about 8 or 9 pisco sours the night
oh,
before, man. It was.
who knows? Who, not I. Um, but
But
yeah,
yeah,
so
we made it.
we made it, got to the airport, um, flew, to Cusco. The flight was pretty cheap, pretty chill. I mean, right? Like
Yeah, there was nobody on it.
nobody on it, and there's nobody on it. So we each had our full rows to ourselves. I'm pretty sure, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Um, each had our full rows to ourselves. You passed out. I was like snapping photos as we were flying down over. Like I don't think we actually crossed over the Sacred Valley, right? No. Sacred. I think we crossed over the Sacred Valley. I don't know geography, though I should. I should have done
I don't.
better research.
I don't know geology.
I was never good at geology.
There we go.
Made it into Cusco, snagged a cab, and I remember like driving through these winding roads. We get to as far as the car could take us, and we had, man, it was probably 20 or 30 minute hike upstairs to get to our hostel, and we were already it was something crazy. Cusco's at like
Yeah,
11,000 feet elevation.
I
11,
remember the tingling of the blood. If you get to high
yeah.
elevation.
Oh man, yeah. It was a doozy. It was a doozy of a hike. So we got up
I
there.
think we stopped and got some of those leaves, the coca
Oh,
leaves, and
the
I just
coca.
shoved them in my mouth, which
Yep.
isn't the right application of these leaves.
No,
But I just
definitely.
started eating them, which
You
was
just
retarded.
yeah, and there was more at the hostel.
Yeah,
Remember, because the woman at the hostel was preparing all that stuff for us, trying to like say, hey, you're probably gonna get sick because you're at altitude, yada yada yada, all this and that. So